Clients are looking much more holistically at the composition of the board, and they're looking at complementary backgrounds and skill sets. So, today, unlike 10 years ago, I'd say a lot of our clients are looking for maybe 2 to 3 independent directors who basically have a day job, because, those are the people who are dealing with disintermediation, the pace of change, big data, the pandemic. And the CEO wants a couple of people on the board who are kind of worried about what they're worried about. Secondly, diversity is a big push. The Black Lives Matter movement has clearly focused boards on now not just having one, but probably two diverse candidates on the board. And the theory resonates, right? You want people in the boardroom who are going to have a different set of perspectives, are going to ask questions, and are really going to push the envelope relative to deciding what's best. So, as McKinsey says all too often, diversity leads to better business results, and it does for sure. So, those are just some of the things I think we're seeing in the composition world. Peter, let me ask you one last question, and then maybe we wrap it up.
Okay.
We have seen a tremendous amount of activism in the real estate industry over the last 10 years, and big time activists, people like Starboard and others who have entered the fray and gotten involved with Forest City and so forth. You've been on some boards where an activist has shown some interest in the stock. What's your view of activists, their role in the industry? Are they ultimately doing good for shareholders? What's your perspective on that?
So, and by the way, you're right. I've been on a couple of boards where they've appeared, and I've also, Bill, been on the side of an activist in a couple of instances over history. And if I were to, this won't shock you when I don't think it'll shock you. The impact of an activist is only as good as that party. Is only as good as that party. If that party is thoughtful and truly looking for value and has really identified a strategic that has been missed or conflicts that have been overlooked, particularly situations where there have been conflicts that have been tolerated or overlooked, they can do a lot of good. And, I'll go back years and years ago. I was very minor helpful when Roy Disney and Stan Gold worked to remove Michael Eisner. And remember, they had brought Michael Eisner in 20 years ago, 20 years earlier.
Right.
And their point wasn't Michael Eisner. Their point was he was fabulous, and then he became imperial and he stopped listening in his time. And I never dealt with Michael, but their activism reinvigorated that company, right? Their activism originally replacing before that replacing Walt Disney's, I had nothing to do with that, replacing his son-in-law, bringing in Eisner and Wells, reinvigorated Disney. It would have been long gone. Then the activist vis-a-vis Eisner to remove and reinvigorated the company again under Igor. So on the other hand, I've seen situations where you go, they have no idea what they're doing. They're strictly opportunist in a bad sense of the word, not opportunist in the good sense, right? They are scavengers, and it's about the vision. It's about the it's not surprising. It's about the people and their effort. It's not about their label. It's not about if they're labeled activists. It's, are they doing real things?
Yeah. And I would agree with you, Peter. I think there are some activists that have done well by shareholders, and I think there are others who have been opportunistic. We always represent our clients under siege. We don't represent the activists in particular, but I think net, Some have been made a real positive impact, and some have not.